Yes. What's up, YouTube? Hope everybody's doing okay. Happy Christmas. I had the wrong phone, man. Let me know you can hear me on YouTube. I'm guessing you can. What is going on, man? Looking at Ford here. I want to talk about some oil. Talk about a couple things, actually. Let's take this back. Oil. Just a second. There we go. I hate this only having one monitor. Let's bring it up. All right, we're looking at Ford here. We had this last week. If you're in Discord with me, or a couple weeks ago, we were using this as a example. If you were wanting to try doing some short selling, the way I look at it, you guys know I'm tracking what I believe to be the 4 stages of price movement, and the way we define those is through what I believe to be a fractal pattern that price moves, and that's what this is. That's what I was trying. What we're trying to do. So as you're watching this, do we have it up, man? Do we even have it up? We do not. Bear with me. I went live a little too early. Wasn't quite ready. All right, so we believe, I believe price moves through these 4 stages, and we were talking about if the market went south, that Ford would probably come down because most stocks follow the index. And stocks tend to move, some of them tend to move at a higher, what they call a higher beta than the stock market, meaning if the market's going up, they go up a little more. If the market's going down, they go down a little further. And that's kind of what we expected here. Not that I know, but that's the pattern. And so what we talk about is price tends to stop where it stopped before. And you can see, not perfect, but we've seen this pattern. Now notice on this one that went up wasn't as far as this one, right? Wasn't as far. But then when it went down, what did it do? Went right back to where it was. So the more of that, if I can try to spot it, then all I'm trying to do is stack odds, trying to depends on my time frame, what it is I'm trying to do, man. So if I'm trying to accumulate shares in Ford over my lifetime, then I'm probably waiting for it to be undervalued. This would be what they would call technical analysis, technical undervalue, but I could go research it and study their books, Q1, Q2, Q3, look at what kind of money they're making, and we could come to some standard assessment if this thing is undervalued or overvalued. And sometimes they're undervalued for a reason. It's like things aren't that good. But one man's misfortune is another man's opportunity. So this is the zone where I look to start being an accumulator. Well, we know if we're playing the short side, that's probably a zone, and we said it before in the video, that's a zone where I'm looking to take profits. Hold on, let me pause that. All right, it shows we got 52. So if you go in Discord, go in the MFG videos, I think we had it in there. Short video just on what I was looking at if I was trying to short Ford. And that was all based on the S&P. was turning down. Let's check in on the SPY for just a second. It's still bearish, man. Looked like it was making a stand today. We got an anchor point here. Got an anchor point. Here's the problem. And it's not very oversold, is it? So, still in my short position on this. Look at the moving average alignment. You got the 20-day, 10-day, 5-day prices below it. Starting to build a little box here. But we're trading below the 200. I don't know, man. Everything is still bearish. Momentum has stopped, man. So it is kind of trying to put in a little stop here. So that's kind of how we're looking at it. So if I was short Ford, I'd probably be wanting to take some of those gains off. And so if you notice, look, Ford came down further than the S&P did, which is kind of what you'd expect, right? This stock runs hotter. So when the market turns up, it'll probably go up faster than the market. And when the market turned down, it most likely is going to go, I bet we could go look and see what the beta is, and it'll tell you against the S&P, and I guarantee it's more than 1. I don't know if somebody wants to do that on Instagram. Hold on just a second. So go back to Discord, watch that video. Let me pause this. So this here, man, this is super important because you've gotten to witness this in real time, right? Doesn't that kind of make this kind of cool? Like in real time. There's our breakout. We put in our 3. There was our breakdown. And now what? We're stopping where we stopped before, right? So as we watch that, we're seeing this play out in real time. And so, again, how do you want to spice time is based on how you use the money flow, man. What your thoughts are. So as an investor, this is probably looking like a time that I'm interested in accumulating. As a short seller, it's probably a time I'm looking to take gains on my short, right? And that's what we talked about in that video. You can have both of those are going on inside of the money flow, man. Money flow is just time, It takes time for these stages, time to move up, and we don't know. We don't know how high or how low. All you can try to do is somehow try to gauge it through, some people do it through value system, and sometimes it depends on your time frame and what it is you're trying to accomplish. Let's look at oil for a second. We've been long oil for a minute. And then we took some gains, right? On that last trade. And if you remember, we had our pivot point. We had our break above the 5. 1, 2, 3, 4. We got our 4 days. So we figured we had a bottom. RSI went extreme. And what? We rode it up into what? Up into the 3. Now that's real time, man. We can go back and look. Do that. Oh, Sunday night, I'm doing my whiteboard, man. You got to do your whiteboard. You can do it on paper too. I do it on the board for visual effects, but normally I do it on paper. But what this has given me is just ideas. It doesn't mean I can't do all of this, right? But these are stocks that are right now overvalued or banging a 70 RSI. So if I wanted to, I might want to spend some time looking. Maybe if they're overvalued, maybe I need to downsize a little. I don't know. It depends on what the plan was. I definitely don't want to buy any here. It's not on sale, at least not for me. And then as I come over, I'm like, okay, what inside of what I already own? These are things I already own, and new stuff tends to just kind of drop in here. And just because it's not on here doesn't mean I'm not on it or not in it or whatever. It's just like only so many things can go on in my brain at one time, you know? And so if you look on Sunday night, I'm writing Sunday and Monday actually. Exxon, Conoco, Chevron, MPLX, DO, and I put D twice, look at that, are breaking out. So as I'm going through looking at charts, if you remember, going into Friday, we said we had our breakout. So all I'm going to assume is it's just going to go where it went before, right? That's the money flow, man. Wherever it stopped before, it can do again. And that's not perfect. It's just where it's been before. The price is attracted to that. Let's look on there. When did we start buying? Let's bring up another one. Instagram, man. Little notes to myself about the market. Let's see. Where are we at? Hold on, I'm reading down here. Oh, close most of, so 1128 appears to be rolling over. 1128 close most of ERX. So where's that at? Oh, boom. There we go. Nice. Nice. And of course, we're getting in down here. Now, we don't know that's what's going to happen, man. I'm just watching this here, and I'm trying to determine any given moment where if I'm trading in that, then I need to be getting out into gains. That's called trading, and I need to not write them down. If I'm position trading, which means I'm trying to build up a position over time because I think I could get more money for it. That's going to take time. I may or may not respond to this. So as you go over here, where's it at? And you're looking here and it says stage 3. That may or may not be the case, man. Maybe I think it's got it like AT&T was banging that stage 3. If we go back, Tesla makes me want to puke, but let's look at AT&T. Remember we talked about that and we had it on the board. Let's take this down. And it was building out that stage 3 box. Who knows? Maybe it keeps it once it works. All it's doing is working this off, man. It just needs to work that off, man, because there's a lot of different people who bought it for different reasons. And all that's being settled out. Well, if we go look and it's still undervalued, maybe it didn't come down. Like maybe it doesn't make a run all the way back, like we saw with Ford, where it went all the way back down. That's not happening here, right? So if you remember, I didn't take any off because this thing is still significantly undervalued. So if it did come down, I'm not trying to trade this. I'm trying to pick it up more because the value's down the road, man. The bigger trade. One, I would collect dividends, and two, maybe it gives me 2 or 3 years to build it up, man. Maybe instead of taking $1, I take $25 and get paid to do it in the meantime. So, not every asset, not every trade is the same, right? Depends on your time frame. But all of that is happening within the context of the money flow. Shorts, longs, maybe use them for protection. I don't know. Let's check in on Verizon. We see it breaking. Verizon's finally getting a little move. Well, it ain't going very far, is it, though? Going very far, man. Checking on D. This is one we've been building. Now, D's one of these plays we call bread and butter. And the reason I call it that is it just works so much, but it takes time. And what that's about is it's finding a stock that pays a dividend that it's in good standing with it. You know, they're not at risk of, maybe they're going to lower it, but they're not at risk of closing it down. And when it gets below this 200-day moving average, and there's other, other sources, like go look at analysts, different ratings, you do a little digging. And the more you know, use your own, if you know, and try to find a value. And a lot of times these things, they get whacked down too far, man. It goes too far, and price tends to go too high, and price tends to go too far, man. That's what it does. If it did the fucking logical thing, everybody be doing, but it's illogical a lot of times, and it moves based on fear and greed and emotion, and that's how it tends to move. Not necessarily, but it's always seeking that fair value, and so it goes too high, it goes too low. Tesla has definitely gone too far down, I think, but maybe the market doesn't, and maybe the short sellers went out on that, right? But if we go look, we know fundamentally, not just us, there's multiple people that say this thing is worth $74. So if you were going to write a check for it, $74, and they pay a dividend, and it's a utility stock. And so we've had this inside the money flow. We've done really well on these, man. This is probably, I think, probably our second favorite sector to trade is utilities, because the confidence of, utility stock going out of business is pretty rare. I mean, you had that shit in California that kind of freaked me out with the forest fires. That's some shit I hadn't had that problem. I've had storms, and I own 5 different utility stocks, probably got $70,000 in them. And that's not something I've sat around thinking much about, is forest fires, but we saw the stock was destroyed, and then to come back huge. So FE was one we picked up through just through reading Barron's and stuff. They committed a crime. One of their subsidies tried to bribe an official. Well, they're not going to turn off the energy to the residents of Oregon over that. They're just going to have people get in trouble. The company gets fined, stock gets banged, and then COVID hits, boom, and it gets ridiculously priced. And now it's like doubled from there, and it's paid dividends for 2 years. I think it's doubled, close to that. This is another one, and these take time to set up, but these are easy trades too, man. Companies like, look at these. PM is one we picked up last year. This is a long time paying dividend stock. Look at this. Right? Stage 1. Big sell off. What happened to RSI? These are not hard to follow, man. Right? This is PM. They're one of the largest cigarette manufacturers in the world, have been paying a dividend forever. That's why people own this kind of stock. And when you get these setups like this, it's just drawn back to at least there from a trading perspective. So what I used to do was I would plan to sell some here, and then I'd just let the rest, do what it's due, and I'd wait for the next stage 1, and I'd collect that dividend. And if it came down below it again, I'd start that game again. And when it came back, I'd take some down. Well, pretty soon you're doing that with 10, 15 of them, and they're paying you money, man. So then all I got to do is watch, and it's like, I don't know where it's going at all. I just know what the setup looks like. And sometimes you don't get long, like that one didn't give you much. Other ones, like, let's look at, I'm not making it up. I'm just showing them to you. Look at AG&C. Look at this. This thing pays what? 15% yield. It's been paying for most of your adult life. It's paid all of your adult life, most of you. I've been in it like 10 years, so look, bam, then stopped. Like, this is such a, I'm obviously not the only guy in the world that notices this every day. So that's one thing I always have to remind myself whenever I think I've found some secret. It's like, other people do this too, Gerald. So whenever you find something that's like, why aren't people noticing this? First thing I ask myself is, what am I missing? because I know I'm not the smartest guy. I'm not the first guy. It's like, so if I'm seeing this and other people aren't seeing this, like, what am I missing? Maybe I'm not seeing it. The money flow trading system is fractal. So when we talk about a fractal, we're talking about this right here. Whenever you hear me talk fractal, I'm usually talking about this, but it's also time is fractal, and so is your money. 4 quarters is $1, or 100 pennies is $1, right? It's fractal. You can break it down. Money's fractal, shares are fractal, dividends are fractal, rent's fractal. Fractals never-ending pattern. Fractals are infinitely complex patterns that are self-similar across different scales. They are created by repeating a simple process and over again in an ongoing feedback loop. Driven by recursion, means repetition, repeat. Fractals are images of dynamic systems and pictures of chaos. Geometrically, they exist between our familiar dimensions. Patterns are extremely familiar since nature is filled with them. Trees, rivers, like tornado is a fractal pattern. When it's going to rain, and you'll see this happen a lot, man. We could just pull one after another. And you'll see, like over here, you saw it. It's way down here, right? There's our stage 1 buy, and then it bangs it. And then what? Down, pulls up, and it bangs it. The lines are going to move. The price is arbitrary. I was trying to explain that to a young dude. I'm like, dude, price is a made-up agreement. 1 year, Bitcoin's worth 60K and it's going to $1 million. Next year, it's worth 16K. It's going to 0. It's fucking arbitrarily made up. Price of a house here is 400,000. Price over here, 1.6 million. And you go over here and it's like 2 million. And you're like, yeah, but that's the same drywall from Home Depot. I know, but it's 2 million here. Over there, it's a lot cheaper. Here, it's more. It's arbitrary, man. And if people want to change it, they leave. And then it goes with them. And everywhere they go, they just make it up, man. And if at some point people don't want to exchange for that, what? The price starts to come down. And then when people want to, the price starts to go up. And sometimes you'll think where you bought it or what you paid for it is important. It's like, no, nobody gives a fuck but you. Meaning when it was over here, I had a kid I was telling, he's like, man, I don't even see why we don't own these. We should have got out. And it's like, yeah, maybe. But remember that dividend we got over here? Gave me free shares. And then remember down here, we added some more. So we got to add and add, right? And now what? Bam. We probably got another one over in here, man. And so it's like, yeah, you could have done that, man. You could have kept it, maybe bought puts. So as the market moved down, if you're shorting, if you think you got a handle on that, like we talked about in the Ford video, instead of shorting Ford, stay with me, man. Don't lose me. Maybe you own shares. You're like, man, I don't want to do it. Maybe you be like my buddy Matt and sell. You could sell puts against it, right? What are they selling? Calls. You'd sell a call. It's not my thing, but there are these things you can do. I mean, you don't have to, because that is a tax consequence, getting in and out. Maybe you don't want to get out, but maybe you want to hedge it. Or maybe you don't. And so that's what learning about this, and there is no one way, right way, man, because over time they go up. So accumulating, but timing is important, but we got a breakout on oil, still underway. We could add here. We've been adding. I say we, I'm talking as if I'm French. I think you see in here, buying stage 2 breakout D, adding to ERX, adding swing trade ERX. Y, added to swing trade ERX, adding to D, close UTSL for a nice gain, SPY hedge in the green, adding, let's see, BBBB, taking a new swing in ERX, 12.13. So where's 12.13? Bam. Right there. And then what? It's come down. As long as it holds that anchor point, this is really important. That was my anchor. That was my buy signal. That's my target. That's the money flow. Same thing I did here. Anchor, buy signal, first target, RSI target. Same thing. First target, hopefully RSI third, stage 3 targets are up here. And this pattern keeps them moving. Right? But I don't know that. So all I'm playing is it repeating. It's a fractal pattern in chaos. That's all I'm playing. So the more it's below this golden line, I really like that because I don't know how to value oil. Clueless. I don't know how to value Bitcoin. No idea. I don't know how to value silver. Completely, I have no idea. You could say, well, we're going to value it based on the labor. Okay, what if it's robots digging it out? Does the value go down? You get what I'm saying? Like, I don't know how to value things, but I know how to value a company because it's called a fucking earnings and balance sheet. So they have a way of doing that. So some things the valuing is much easier. But the stock market's not about rationality. I mean, it's not valuing today's price. It's always in the future. So when a stock is down, it's not because it's doing bad today necessarily. It's because they think it might do bad in the future. So some people based on might. What do you mean? They trade and invest based on what might happen, not what is happening. So they're in the future. They're like, you know what I think's going to happen? And then they go position their money according to what they think is going to happen. And you can do that. You can try that. Or, I'm kind of big into playing what is happening. So I want to have a little bit of everything, and then I want to kind of weight it based on what I actually see happening. So when I see this bottom and you say, how do you know it's bottom? And it's like, well, it held it for 4 days. That's it. RSI went extreme and it held it for 4 days. And for me, that's on a daily chart, but I don't know your time. I'm just telling you the fractal pattern I'm watching at price. So as it sells off, and for some, you're going to have to spend some time. If you're new, you may not be like 5 day. Why that? Why this? Why that? That's going to come with time as you look into these tools. I didn't make these up. Nobody on YouTube made these up. The Relative Strength Index was created in 1976 by Wells Wilder. And, the support and resistance, that's as old as fucking Japanese trading rice. And MACD was created by a guy named Gerald. I use the TSI. That was created by a guy named Robert Blue. And forget the dude on the stochastics. And so none of this is like proprietary or new. It's just things that people are looking at. Well, that's what makes them come true is a lot of people are looking. So other people are following that same pattern, and they're using the same tools. There's only so much information, man. So what are we seeing now on this AGNC? The RSI is extreme, right? It's the exact opposite here than what we saw over here, right? They're opposite. And almost always in the money flow, that's a completed move. So what I'm expecting it as, where's it at? What I'm expecting is that's exhausted. I don't know. It's just a fractal pattern. It's just, I'm looking at it. I'm like, well, last time that's what happened. So we can gauge that. And then, like I said, we got to add another layer. Depending on if we're trading, then I'm just taking the money because I made my money. And that's what it's telling me. If I'm an investor, I kind of want to dig in and see, okay, at this point, what is this worth? And, is this the best use of my money? And maybe it is. You're like, this is what I own. It's part of a portfolio. It's like, cool. And that's fine. And you just hold it. But maybe you're like, man, I've had some nice gains on this. I think I'm gonna trim them. And if that's what I'm doing, this is what I'm hoping that I'm selling into strength, man. I'm hoping when this happens, it's actually like kind of overvalued. So that, cool. Then I feel even better about taking some down if that's what I wanted to do. I wouldn't necessarily run off and do that. And you don't want to trim them until there's nothing left. And then you got winners. You don't want to get rid of winners to buy losers. But at the same time, depending on what your mandate is, what your blueprint is, if you're taken from winners to add to what you believe will be winners in the future. That's, I call that rolling money forward. Uh, at the very least, I don't probably want to add over here. What's up, Nick? And so we see that. This is mortgage REITs, man. We see that just natural flow of price. Man, I got sidetracked on that. URX Ford, what was I going to look at? Oh, man. What's up, YouTube? Man said how to join Discord. Got to get my book, man. Click up there where it says trade with the MFG. Hold on, YouTube. I apologize. Man, we got a lot going on today. I guess I'd be remiss if I didn't touch on Tesla. Oh my God. We've gotten crushed in this damn thing. I know some people sold their position. Obviously, looking smart now. I'm going to stay with it. My position size, to be honest, is not that big right now. I was position trading this, so now I'm wishing I was swing trading it. Is what it is. There's been a lot of negative things. Elon was still selling. I thought it'd be done, man. Nope, down it went. They had some problems in China, tax credit stuff. Not good. I'm holding. People, this sell-off is ridiculous, but what do we know, right? So make sure you like the stock. Obviously do your own research. It's compounded at 50% in a year for like a decade. Could this be the time it doesn't? For sure. I just kind of see it as a chance for me to get in. It wasn't that long ago. It was $310. It's 112 now. It's gone to absurd prices before. They're in the front lines of electric cars. So I'm going to give it a little room. We'll see. We've had the same problem with Amazon. Man, this Amazon here. I definitely wouldn't get shook out of Amazon here, man. I picked up a little Zim today. Could be a stage 1. Go read on this, man. I'm going to be talking to you guys a little more about this, probably on the podcast. I'm probably going to do a podcast on it. I think would be the best way to discuss this stock. I've been calling it a speculation. And what that means is it's speculation, man. It's like, this is not AT&T, It's not almost nobody covers it, man. So anytime you're doing speculation, that's fine. Just know what it is, man. Like, keep it where if you're wrong, it's not going to kick your ass. It's might hurt a little bit, but you're good. Whatever that number is, that's probably good advice overall, but I think that's not quite fair. Like, I bought a lot of properties and was like, geez, being nervous is part of the thing, man. If you're not a little bit nervous, man, you might not be doing anything. Or you probably don't have enough money in the play. I like it here. Dividends been crazy high. It's all been from profits. I would encourage you to go read on it. Like I said, we'll talk some more about it. We're going to do a podcast on it. I think that's the best way to handle this stock. And I might have some people sit in with me on that have done a little studying on it and come to a consensus on it. If you haven't studied it, go study it. Maybe you like to sit in on that. That's what I need to do. I can have up to 4 people on there. Yeah, I think on that. I know some of you guys like to read. Do some reading. Maybe we get 3 or 4 of us on there and talk about this thing, man. Because there's not a lot of coverage on it. We covered Ford. I wanted to cover that. We got the breakout going down in, check out ETRN. Now notice, hold on, my board. In fact, I even share this every day. I don't even know what I'm doing, man. Why am I sharing this with people, man? Sometimes I wonder that. I get the Money Flow gang. What I didn't have on here, did I have it on here? Oh, I have it up here. Dividends this week. So when I'm talking about dividends this week, it's from page 18. This is just mine, okay? So if you come over here, it's these. So I start putting those on there just so we can be a little more aware of them, as I'm seeing more and more people getting them. So it kind of lets us be aware. GLV also means lets us check out the charts. We should be aware of our money. So from that page, GLV, we've been talking about this one for months, okay? GLV. Look at this, the way it moves. It's not a big mover. This is a closed-in fund. So if you remember when I started talking about these, and notice the pattern, guys. Come on, man. Come on, you see that? See it? Big downs, right? Come on, man. So we know what these are, right? So it runs up. So if we ever wanted to exit, we know what that looks like. And then what we're at now. Do I need to run and buy today? Nope. It's probably going to get down into here, right? So you see how, like, even though we don't know where it's going, I have no idea where this damn thing's going. It gives me a repeatable process. Accumulate, accumulate, accumulate. You see what I'm saying? Even though, yeah, on these, that has been down. But even if the trend was down and I'm an accumulator and I want to own this 10, 15 years, wouldn't I want to buy the lows? Whether it's going up or down, like even if it's in an uptrend, don't I want to buy lower? And so I need a way of a repeatable process of doing that, even though I don't necessarily know where it's going. And, you know, for me, if it's below the 200, that's even of more significance than if it's above it. But the yield on this thing has been like 50, I think it's like 15%. Now, could they lower that? Because, well, it's based on assets that they own, right? So it's the Kaufman Global Dividend Income Fund. And we talked about, go read on what that is. That's a closed-in fund, right? And I wanted to pick them up because they were trading below the 200. Started adding them in there. So all I'm trying to add in there is just income. That's what the fund is. So if you've ever read You Don't Have to Die Broke, you see my breakout. My thing is, what do you see what it says? It was like 50% real estate, 20 to whatever it was, dividend stocks, and then it was like 10% high yield. That's what this is. Mortgage REITs, this Kaufman Global Fund. The other one was what? USA? We've been putting it in the newsletter. Closed-in fund. Again, go read on them. So as I'm watching the money flow, for me, I'm just looking for a fractal pattern, right? So I'm trying to buy this. It's what all I want to buy. So is that this right now? Not yet. Not yet. And I can see the momentum, look, down. Is the RSI extreme? Nope. So we're not there yet, you know? So, and I know once we hit it, it's still going to take several days. So as I'm looking at this, it's like, it's not on there because that's, you know, it's probably not going to hit this week. So I'm looking at things that are hitting right now, and then, and I'm just thinking on them. These are ones. Do I want to buy? I don't necessarily want to buy that, but I'm just acknowledging AT&T is a one, a one. This is also look, a B&B. What is that? Bread and butter, a large cap dividend stock trading below the 200, right? So is Apple, so is DLR, so is Cube. These are just some that I'm looking at. So as I go through watching them, for me, that's me just setting up my board, man, looking at what I already own and what would be the best spot for money today. So if I want to invest today, and I've gotten a lot of emails and DMs recently, mostly from my podcast about so mostly about feeling like they might miss it. I don't want to say miss an opportunity. It's like right now is such a good opportunity, and it's like maybe, fuck, man, maybe it drops another 50%. That'll be an even better one. So the point to that is because like this guy was talking about, well, I don't want to pay this debt off because the market right now is such a good opportunity. And it's like, okay, what if you don't pay it off? You invest that and then it drops another 50%. You still got the debt and the market is still an opportunity. And it's like, so I wouldn't see it that way. I just play every day the hand I'm given, and not having credit card debt any day is a good day. Like any time is the right time. It don't matter what the fuck the stock market's doing or the economy's doing. Not having debt is a good thing to have, man. That's an investment in you. It returns immediately. Then I'm not in a big panic when this comes down. If I ain't got no debt, I just buy some more, man. This is ETRN. So I like this setup. This thing has some problems. Go read on it, but they've been paying a steady dividend. It's been lagging the rest of the sector. This is an MLP, so be aware of that. It gives you a tax return, kids. So if you're out there, they're going to send you a K1, man. You're going to have to put it on your taxes like adults that make money. Sometimes that freaks people out, but look at these setups, man. Look at these runs. So anytime I can catch this undervalued, and I think the dividend yield is like 8-9%. But again, remember, this is an MLP, Master Limited Partnership. That's different. The last one was a closed-end fund. Go read on that. These are different entities. They're different. They're not a stock. Okay? A REIT's not a stock. Payments not going out, same as payments coming in. Absolutely. So think on that. That's all I'm saying. No, these do have tax consequences. Great time to buy this right now, though, in my opinion. Let's see. Oh, BX. Oh, my God. A lot of worry in this one, man. This was a high flyer, man. God bless. Not just the other day, it was 107. It's been as high. I've rode it from $24 to $150. Now we're at $74. Yeah, we already hit on Zim. I was buying some today. Man, this one surprises me. I'm gonna be honest, and I got a lot of money in this. It surprises me. Blackstone, baby, rulers of the universe. I don't know. I'm not in NW. I'm not in NWA or NWL. I like NWA, bro. I don't know about NWL. Let me check on YouTube. Clem says his job's offering an extra $5 an hour for the next 2 weeks. I've been loading up on extra shifts to get my credit card paid off. Good move, sir. Then I go back to accumulating shares this year. Good move, man. Good move. Good move. No, Tony, that's not 16% monthly. It pays monthly, but it's a 16% annual. So divide 16% by 12, sir. Just Brandon says, do you start your position in a stage one and get the max in stage two? Or do you just wait? Yes, sir. When I was swing trading, that's kind of the way the swing trade would go. You got to understand, since I wrote the money flow book, the world has changed in that. Let's look at the oil trade. I trade this one, meaning I get out of it. If you remember, I got all out here. This is a trading tool. It's a double leveraged ETF on oil. Oil doesn't produce equity like stocks. But this isn't oil, but this is an ETN, like electronically traded note. There's no more fees. So I used to buy twice. I would have two buys, that's it. It would be right here. If I was buying the one, if I wasn't buying the one, there's your stage two breakout, that's it. So I'd go buy all I'm gonna buy. Either if I was doing two buys, it would be here and here. That's the one and the two. And then my target. And then I'd set my stop. Probably like right there. That'd be it. It's set. Next, I go to the next one. But today, I mean, you could buy some like we did. It came down a little. I added a little more to the trade. It came down a little. We added a little more. My stop is still the same. It came over. We added more. It came over. I added more. So I'm able to finesse it. And by finessing it, let's say it just doesn't work and I get stopped out. Well, I got less on the trade than I would have had if it's working. So as it's working, I'm adding to it. But I'm going to honor that same stop. You can do that now. You couldn't do that before because it would cost you every time you did that. $10, $10, $10, $10, $10, that would start to add up, man. 2019, I think it was, I had $7,900 in trading commissions. Plug is getting smacked. Yeah, I haven't put this back on yet as a trade. We talked about it. All these are, man. Growth stocks are not working. They're not working again. So, these stocks are just not working. What's working right now is Campbell's. There's Campbell Soup, man. It's working just fine. Not Tesla. People would rather own Campbell Soup. You got Campbell's, one of our plays, Amgen, Dogs of the Dow stocks. Look at that big run. Pfizer. So, these are all the stocks that are working. Got oil stocks headed up. Oil's breaking out again. Utilities, right? Southern Electric, Duke. Look at Southern go, man. Look at this. Large cap, dividend paying stock, below the 200, starts going sideways, breaks above the 20. There we go. Bam. This has worked so much. Bam. It just. So we're playing the same thing with D here, man. D's a laggard. Look how far below it is. Same game. Same game. So if you notice on my board, I had ARC. Are we buying that today? Nope. Spot, Lyft, SoFi, Uber, CL. None of these are working, man. Let's see if any. I doubt any of those are setting up on a one. Maybe a couple of the smaller ones are. Watching these, oil's breaking out. Utilities want to. I'd like to add to TMF bond trade, but it ain't ready yet. We're setting up on a one. Yeah, so it's not a lot here. These ones are, have ripped. Alt, Campbell's, Budweiser, Seabay, Kraft. It's about 2 p.m. Some of these are ones we bought a long time ago, and they've just keep going up, man. Look at this. Jesus. This is one we were buying last year. I haven't added to this since, or did we? Back in October. Well, I'm just looking at some. Hmm. Should have, huh? Jeez. Hopefully some of you did. That's it, man. That's all I got, man. I wanted to cover that. Things look good. Get your boards, watch the week. This is a kind of a jacked up week. Be ready for this coming week, man. Get your charts down. Start figuring out what you're going to be trading. Appreciate it, Lisa. Um, you know, play your hand, play the ones you got. I mean, Apple is trading below the 200. Come on. Come on. That gets back to 150. I got to believe. So, a lot of good setups here, man. You just got to play your hand. Back to what I was saying. Don't make special moments of the market, man. People do that. They'll do dumb financial things because some special relationship with the market. Market doesn't give a shit about you or your timing or when it is. No, most people don't have enough money that a single move or a single thing was going to make the difference. In that, what will make the difference is just doing smart things all the time, consistently in a repeatable pattern. Meaning, we can only play the hand we have. Sometimes people are like, "Well, this market's too high." I don't know what that means. I'm just can play what I have. So even when the market's too high, I'm looking for undervalued things. And when the market's too low, I'm looking for undervalued things. And tomorrow I'm looking for undervalued things. And I'm looking to take profits from overvalued things. And I can just play that hand. And then in the process of doing that, I'm trying to accumulate more properties, more cash, more sales, more shares, more dividends, more interest, less debt. So the money I don't owe other people, I get to keep this shit. So one of the fastest ways to ensure your financial, safety and freedom is to like not owe people, so that when you do, you're not stressed, you're not margined, you're not, you don't blow out because you're not accountable to other people, you know. So then you can ride. These times become opportunity times instead of times of concern or worry. And so if you just live right every day, then every day is an opportunity, regardless of what's going on around you, man. So market can be booming and you find deals, and the market can be in the shithole and you find deals. Like, just be a person that finds deals. So we don't need it to set up a certain way to get prosperous, because day to day, every day, time times amount times yield, every day over a long period of time is how you get prosperous, not 1 week, 1 month, one setup. I know plenty of people that were smart enough to buy stocks in 2008 that still end up not prosperous through death, divorce, disease, disinterest, end up blowing it, you know? So it's not a one time, it's a lifetime thing, man. Hey, if you don't have my free book, hit my bio link and get it. Start there, man, before you start trading. And you can always do this trading stuff for free. I'm pretty sure E-Trade, most of the platforms have paper trading. Even if you're an investor, you might play with that just to get down the, understand the difference in a stop and a limit order. And especially if you're going to drop this time frame down and you start trading on these lower time frames, like say you're watching Apple here for it to move up. Well, hello, if I'm a day trader and on the daily chart, Apple's way below and RSI goes extreme, I'm going to start looking for swing trades to the upside on a lower time frame, right? And I'm going to start trying to catch them. Well, and the opposite would be true if I was a short seller, right? I'm going to be looking for these sell-off patterns. But just something to keep in mind. You can practice this, man, before you blow a bunch of money trying to figure it out, or on options. They let you do that too. Try it for a month, man, before you start throwing real money at trying to trade these short pops, man. I definitely would do that. All right, you guys be good.
For